Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to Soulful Sessions with Rory, the podcast where we dive deep into the matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. And I'm your host, Rory, and I'm thrilled to embark on this soulful journey with each and every one of you. Soulful Sessions with Rory is your safe space for introspection, inspiration, and maybe even a little revelation. Whether you're sipping your morning coffee or winding down after a long day or just seeking a moment of connection, you're in the right place. Before we dive into today's soulful exploration, I want to remind you that Soulful Sessions with Rory is designed for entertainment purposes only. While we may touch on profound topics and meaningful discussions, it's important to approach our conversation with an open heart and a sense of curiosity. Life is a journey, and so is this podcast. But remember, the insights we share here are not a substitute for professional advice or guidance. Always consult with the appropriate professionals regarding your unique circumstances. So whether you're a seasoned seeker or just dipping your toes into the waters of self-exploration, get ready for a blend of wisdom, laughter, and a touch of magic in each episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss a soulful moment. Follow me on social media, on IG, Soulful Explorer, on Facebook, Listening Veteran Life Coach, and Snapchat, Rory Space Soulful Explorer with 2 L's to stay connected, share your thoughts, and be a part of this incredible community. Now let the journey begin. Sit back, relax, and let's feel our souls together. Today's Soulful episode is moving forward from people that hurt you and continue to do harm. Let me say that again. Moving forward from people that hurt you and continue to do harm. First of all, being hurt, that could be past tense, that could be present tense, but I wanted to say hurt you because they've hurt you in the past, and it's very possible that they're still hurting you now. So, I want to talk about moving forward. Immediately when you think moving forward, most people think forgiveness, especially if you're a Christian, you're thinking, you got to forgive like Jesus forgave. Now I have a different insight on forgiveness, but we'll get to that. Learning to forgive someone who has hurt you does not take responsibility for their actions can be challenging and complex, because that means that this person that's continuing to hurt you does not recognize that they're hurting you, or even worse, they do recognize that they're hurting you and they just don't care. For whatever reason, they could be selfish, they could be narcissistic, or they could have a mental health disorder themselves and they just can't do anything about it. So what I want to do is talk about some of the things that you can do for yourself so that you can move forward. Now, moving forward doesn't always mean you just leave that person behind or you let them go. Moving forward doesn't mean forgiveness. But what I will say, moving forward is learning to let go. Now, when you learn to let go of a feeling or an emotion, it can be a powerful tool. When you learn to let go of a person, that's also a powerful tool. Now, letting go doesn't mean putting people out your life. It just means that you decide in what way or fashion you're going to remove this hurt from yourself. Now, of course, whenever I do these podcasts, a lot of times I take experiences from my own life. I've had people that I love tremendously that I've had to let go. Now, I'll be honest with you. It wasn't always forgiveness and then letting go. Sometimes it was just letting go. And then I had to learn to forgive later. And then sometimes I forgave, or I did what I thought was forgiveness, and I realized I was still holding on to the hurt and the pain that was there. So I kind of want to address all of these things so that you can take the necessary steps for yourself to do what you think works best for you. So first and foremost, you have to acknowledge the feeling of what you're going through. You have to allow yourself to process the pain, the hurt, the anger caused by the person that hurt you. You got to recognize that it's normal to have these feelings. It's normal to have these emotions. You are valid. A lot of times when we're going through these things, sometimes we're actually made to feel that we're wrong for hurting. We're wrong for being angry. We're wrong for having pain, especially if it's someone you love. Now, I'm going to talk to you because it's Mother's Day. Now, if you are a mother, and what if the person that's hurting you the most is your child? Woo. Is it wrong to be angry, to be upset with your child for something that they've done to you or continuously do to you? But what if you're the child and it's your mother? Is it wrong for you to be upset and angry for something they continue to do to you? First of all, let's go back to the word valid. Your emotions are valid, but who validates your emotions? You do. So it doesn't matter what someone thinks about what you think. What matters is that you understand how you feel. See, because someone's going to be telling you, I don't even see why you're upset. You shouldn't even be bothered. Or you're not upset. That clearly you're just making a fuss for no reason. So they refuse to validate your emotions. Or, hey, that's your child. You shouldn't be mad at them. That's your mother. You shouldn't be mad at them. That's your father. You shouldn't be mad at them. But you have to remember that you validate your own feelings. But in the same token, if you're validating your feelings, you do have to make a decision on if you want to feel that way. I mean, who really wants to be angry all day? Who wants to be hurt all day? Sad all day? I don't know about you, but I don't. I don't want to feel any of those things all day. Yeah, just saying, I don't. So if you recognize that having these emotions, having these feelings are normal, then it can help you better process them. It can help you better address them, because a lot of times we'll take those feelings, put them on a shelf and be mad at these people forever, but still hang out with them and do all these other things. And it just festers and it builds up and it becomes, toxic, cantankerous. And I don't think that any of us wants that. So let's consider acknowledging our feelings. Now, this brings me to the next thing. It's because you got to be able to understand, what is the impact of you holding on to that anger, that hurt, or harboring the feelings so long, that you just bitter. It will resonate, or it will manifest in so many other things. Could you imagine being mad or angry at somebody and then taking it out on somebody else? Could you imagine being angry and upset and it affects your job performance? It affects your romantic life. It affects so many different things. I've known people who have been so angry and bothered by the person they love. And I'm not talking their spouse. I'm talking like a parent, or even a child, that they take it out on their spouse. They start blaming them for things that they shouldn't even be blaming them for. Like, that's not fair. But that's what they do, because guess what? You'll go the path of least resistance. So that person that you love the most, or the person that you love, who is not going to judge you, who's not going to criticize or critique you, you take all that anger and pain out on them. And it's not fair, but you do it anyway. So you have to understand what the impact is of you holding on to those feelings. And if you understand that, then that can help you in your steps to moving forward. Now, this next part is a little difficult. And I say it's difficult because a lot of us don't even realize that we need it. You have to practice self-compassion. Yep, exactly. That means that you got to give yourself some grace and some mercy. You're quick to treat other people with kindness, with love, with respect, but yourself. So when you find out that someone's doing something to you, show compassion to yourself. Be okay with not stepping up and doing something about it in that moment. Forgive yourself. Be okay for letting it happen for year in and year out. Forgive yourself. Be okay with understanding you didn't have the answers, nor did you know how to respond. Because let's be honest, a lot of the things that we experience, it starts when we're kids. Whether it's a sibling, whether it's a parent, whether it's, hopefully you're not having kids at like 10. Not saying it's not possible. I'm just hoping you're not. And as you get older, it is your children. And so in the same token, you kind of feel bad. You beat yourself up for being human, for having emotion. And you shouldn't do that. You don't deserve that. Show yourself some compassion. Treat yourself with kindness and understanding. Empathy. These are the things that you got to have as you navigate to and through the process of forgiveness. See, because the first thing you're going to have to do is forgive yourself. Before you even can forgive somebody else, you got to forgive yourself. Well, what am I forgiving myself for, Rory? For allowing it to happen. Sometimes we're so angry with ourselves because we didn't protect ourselves that we sometimes say we deserve that treatment. We deserve for them to talk to us that way. We were bad people. We did this, we did that. No, if someone's hurting you, you don't deserve that. Are you perfect? No, I understand that. But that does not mean that you deserve for someone to hurt you. Remember that. You got to learn to be patient with yourself. You have to learn to acknowledge that healing takes time. So it's almost like you're having this conversation saying, hey, it's okay. You were hurt. You didn't deserve it. Now let's start healing. It's going to take time. Be patient. Be patient with yourself. Forgive yourself and let go. You don't have to hurt, even when things hurt you. Forgive yourself for allowing these things to happen in your life. Forgive yourself for not being perfect, right? But then the steps begin for real. Because now you got to start setting boundaries. Because remember, I said people that hurt, past tense, and are still hurting you, how you're going to move forward. The first thing you got to do is set boundaries. How do you set a boundary against someone who's ignored them all their life? So one of the things you do is you keep reiterating what that boundary is to that person. So when you're talking to them and they are doing something that you don't like, you tell them, hey, I don't like what you're doing. And if you continue to do so, I am going to walk away. I don't like what you're doing. If you continue to do so, I'm not going to be able to communicate with you. If you continue to do so, I'm going to do whatever it is that you set that boundary is. No, I'm not talking physical violence. Please don't go around slapping people talking about Rory told me that I need to set a boundary, so I'm going to smack the piss out of you if you say something else. No, I am not. So don't put that on me. Boundaries that I'm talking about do not contain any physical violence. You don't even have to yell, cuss, or fuss. You're letting the person understand that if you keep treating me the way that you're treating me, I am going to exit your life. Not in your life, exit, meaning you're going to get out of their life. Okay, I see, I'm watching you. I know what you're trying to do. And you tell them that I am moving forward. And if you're not bringing something healthy, loving, caring to my life, then I don't want you a part of it. Or if every time I talk to you, it's gossip and drama and stress, I'm not going to stay on the phone with you. Every time I see you, it's negative this, negative that. I'm not going to see you. So you have to set boundaries. Now, some people say, Roy, do I have to tell them? No, you don't. Your boundaries can be internal. You just say to yourself, you know what? Every time this person calls me, if they start talking negative, I'm going to hang up. Or I'm going to say, hey, I got to go. That's still a boundary. Now, is it a perfect boundary? No, nothing is perfect. We don't know how people are going to respond to us. What's important is that you understand how you want to feel, right? So you set the boundary, and this sometimes may even involve limiting or ending contact with that person. But you got to do what's necessary for your well-being. You got to do what's necessary for you to move forward. You have to do what's necessary for you to keep going. Because other people are not going to treat you like you treat you. Now, here's another weird part that you may consider weird, because you're taking this whole process sometimes out of your own hand when you do this, because I want you to take a moment and I really want you to consider the other person's perspective. Yeah, that's right. So this person is hurting you. This person is treating you badly. Now, they're going to probably give you their perception of what's going on. Well, you always did this to me, so I did this to you. Well, I felt like you didn't like me, so I did this. Well, they're going to tell you an array of things. They're going to tell you things that influence their behavior and why they did the things that they did. Or they're going to tell you nothing. Either way, let's be clear. This does not excuse their behavior in no shape, form, or fashion. But it can, and it should help cultivate compassion. It should help you have an understanding of why they are the way they are. So one of the people in my life that hurt me, that, did heinous things to me, basically has some mental health issues. I know that they do, but it doesn't justify the behavior. So you have to make a choice. And when you make that choice, you make that choice out of love. Love for self, your well-being, your health, your mental health, your physical health. Because sometimes some people just don't get it. And when you set that boundary, you stand fast in that boundary. You're showing compassion, but that doesn't mean you have to tolerate the foolishness. Or as I say, the foolishness and fuckery. Set your boundaries. Now, this next step is hard. I'm not going to lie to you, it's hard. Because, see, sometimes we don't even realize we're still looking for validation from that person, the very person that's hurting you. Whether it be your children, your parents, your siblings, co-workers. There's a part of you that wants them to respect you. And as I stated before in other podcasts, respect is a form of validation. So you feel like they owe you an apology. No, nobody owes you anything. And when you release the need for an apology, when I tell you, you will literally be removing this weight off your shoulders. You got to understand that forgiveness is a personal choice. You make it for yourself regardless of whether that person who hurt you will or will not take responsibility for their actions. It is no longer important to me that somebody acknowledges they're wrong. Why? Because I don't need their validation. I don't need their respect. When you love yourself enough, when you respect yourself enough, you don't need nobody else's. So remove that need for an apology. Remove that need for them to acknowledge your emotions. And that's one of the ways you begin to move forward. Get that monkey off your back. Release that burden. You can forgive because you want to. You can let go because you want to. Not because they did something, not because they apologized, not because they validated your emotion. So that's what you got to do. So sometimes when these people hurt you and they're still hurting you, it's hard. But it's not impossible. You can do it. You got to learn to practice forgiveness as well. And you do that by start making conscious decisions to forgive the people who hurt you. So that means that you have to start saying, I forgive this person. I let go of this pain. I let go of this hurt. I forgive this person. I forgive these people. I understand that what they're doing and what they did is wrong, but I forgive them. I let this go. Now, if you choose not to forgive them, I get that. But let go of the hurt. Let go of the pain. Let go of the anxiety. This can be instant or it can be a gradual process. It can take time. It can take years. But it's still all going to be depending on you. It's going to be determined by how you feel. When I decided to forgive the people that hurt me, I thought it was instantaneous. Until I realized years later, like, oh, wow, I'm still hurting by this. So then I was able to really let it go. Because I learned to not just forgive the people, but let go of the emotions that were attached to it. And so even though that person was still hurting me, I felt empathy for them. I felt empathy for them because I did understand why they were attempting to hurt me. I understood why they were attempting to hurt themselves. See, because that's the other part we're not looking at. This person that's hurting you, oh, I could guarantee you they're probably hurting themselves. They're sabotaging a relationship or trying to sabotage you because you're a joyful person. They see the success in your life. They see how great you are. You've heard that saying, misery loves company. Yes, indeed. Misery will have a party and invite you to it. But don't go. Don't go. You got to learn to let it go. You have to make the choice to forgive. And like I said earlier, you got to forgive yourself first. You have to. Now, once you've done that, you've practiced forgiveness, you've gotten yourself ready, and you've learned to just let go. You got to remember the most important thing is to get help. Seek support. Get a counselor. Go see your religious mentor. Go to a support group, spiritual advisor. But you need someone to help you navigate the process of forgiveness and healing. Now, I'm telling you, these people should be professionals. Because if you choose another family member, there's going to be a bias. If you choose somebody, for instance, if you got problems with your mom or your dad, and you go to a friend who lost their mom or their dad, they're not going to understand why you're choosing to walk away from people who are alive and love you. Or so they think. Or somebody who lost a sibling. They're not going to understand why you're walking away from a sibling. Why you just can't simply say, oh, well, I forgave him, so we're going to hang out, kumbaya. So be sure that the help that you receive is from someone who has an unbiased thought process, who can understand your plight and help you navigate and move forward. I'm not saying you're looking for someone to coddle you. I'm saying you're looking for someone who can talk to you without judgment. Forgiveness is a journey. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes patience. It takes compassion. It does not mean that because you forgive them, you condone their behavior. You're not saying, hey, what you did was great. I'm okay with that. No, what you're saying is, I understand what you did. I don't like what you did. But what I'm not going to do is live in a place where what you did controls how I feel and how I think. For that, I forgive you. I wish you nothing but the best, but I am not going to allow you to have access to me or my life because it's not good for me. It's not good for my well-being. And the first person I have to look out for is me. And don't forget that. So regardless of who it is, despite what they've done, it's up to you to forgive them, forgive yourself, and to move forward. Do not allow them to change how you feel at any point. There should be no hatred. There should be no anger. It should be love, empathy, compassion, and forgiveness. So to all of those people who've ever hurt me, who've ever done me harm, who continue to do me harm, understand that I love you and I forgive you. And I hope that you found it in your heart to forgive yourself. Because at the end of the day, the first person you got to forgive is yourself. And I've forgiven me. And I let go of any pain, any hurt, any stress. And my boundaries are still in effect. So just remember, you are the protector of your peace. Nobody else. You are the person that decides how you feel. Nobody else. So regardless of the situation or circumstance, you decide how you feel. So I hope that this Mother's Day, that you take it to heart and that you learn to let go of any hurt, any pain. You learn to forgive yourself and those around you. And you keep moving forward. So happy Mother's Day, everybody. If you're in Texas and you need help seeing a therapist, you can go to www.mentalhealthdefenseandfitness.com to schedule an appointment. And this is only for the state of Texas. Now, thank you, beautiful souls, for joining me on today's episode of Soulful Sessions with Rory. If this episode resonated with you or somebody that you know, share it with them. they might benefit from it. As we navigate the depths of introspection and explore the boundless possibilities of the human spirit, remember that your journey is uniquely yours, and every twist and turn is a sacred part of your story. Embrace the whispers of your soul and may the echoes of our conversations linger in your heart, sparking a flame of self-discovery. Until we meet again in the realm of shared wisdom, stay true to your essence, stay connected to the rhythm of your soul, and always remember that you are a masterpiece in the making. Until next time, this is Rory signing off with gratitude and reverence for the magic that resides in each one of you.